Hey everybody, hope everybody's having a good night tonight, and we'll get started here in a second or two. Get myself situated here. Happy Saturday. If it's still Saturday by you, I got about, looks like about 14 minutes of Saturday left before we go into Sunday. It's currently 11:46 p.m. For me over here on the East Coast. I got Maria and Lauren with us right now. See everybody dropping into the chat. Very cool. Very cool. Let's see. Let's get OBS going. Cool. We got that rolling here. If you're just joining the live stream, drop your name in the chat. I got Maria and Lauren hanging out with us tonight. Who else is going to join us tonight? Okay, storyboard jam session. What is it today? The 17th. Wow. Time flies by this month. I can't believe it. Cool. Good evening. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope you're all doing well. I'm doing well myself. Currently, like I said, it's 11:47 p.m. over here on the East Coast, and we're coming to you live. For our storyboard jam session. Today's what is it, 17th of February. I can't believe February is just already here. Wow, it's almost we're past halfway through. Holy smoke! Gosh, so much going on this month. Oh my goodness gracious! I hope you're all doing well and you're having fun drawing and storyboarding and telling your visual stories. And hope everything's going well with you. I got Maria and Lauren joining the chat. If you're a new friend joining on the chat or a friend returning back in again, drop your name in the chat. Love to know who we're talking to tonight. And we'll give it a second before we get started tonight. We're going to have a fun topic tonight. We're going to be talking about thumbnailing tonight and a bunch of different strategies and tips and tricks to help you good folks out there how to do your thumbnails here. So just give it a couple of seconds here. Let me move some of my things here and hope everybody can help see me. I got Austin. Hey Austin, how's it going? Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the live stream. We're over here. Okay. We'll give it another couple seconds. I hope everybody's doing well. You got some pen and paper or your stylus and ready to take some notes as we get going on tonight's storyboard jam session. I love these jam sessions. They're fun. I'm going to make this one a little bit more sort of interactive tutorial instead of just working on a movie and stuff like that. I hope you're pronouncing. I got another first timer here. Let me see if I could. I hope I don't butcher your name there, or your handle here. Zaili. I think I hope I'm saying that right. But hello, welcome. I'm so happy everybody's joining. So let's get started here because I don't want to dilly dally too long and get things rolling. So again, let's kick this off from the top. Hello, everybody, and good evening. My name is Paul Angeli. I'm a live action storyboard artist, and we bring tonight to you our Saturday night storyboard jam session. A little bit about the channel and sort of how I created the channel. Created this channel. It's roughly about 4.5 months ago. I created this channel to be a resource for visual storytellers, filmmakers, and storyboard artists of all types. I love telling great stories, and I especially love telling visual stories. I was always attracted to animation, filmmaking, comics, any type of visual narrative. I'm a visual person. I see the images in my head, and I just love getting it down. And it doesn't matter if I'm sitting at a drawing table on a Cintiq, on some copy paper or behind the camera directing a film. I love it. I love just the image. I love creating images, and I love telling narrative stories with those images. It's a lot of fun, and as we talked about in so many of these different live streams, it's just a joy to be a storyboard artist, and I love it because you're working, you're getting a shooting script, and you're working with the director, your client, or you're directing your own pieces and you're storyboarding those things out, and it's the blueprint for your film, your feature animation, your cartoon, and you can use your thumbnailing and your storytelling experiences for comic books, picture books, music videos. There's so many different things you can do with visual storytelling. But again, I wanted to create this as a resource for you friends out there. I also wanted to create this channel to sort of document a little bit my journey and my processes, so you out there that are getting into storyboarding, that you can learn from it. And so if you're somebody who's super interested in getting into storyboarding, or you're already a storyboard artist and you want to enhance your craft or level up your game, or just somebody that just wants to follow along and see what a visual storyteller or storyboard artist does, this is the channel for you. And I appreciate those of you that are joining the live stream. Quite a few of you, it's your first time here, so welcome, my friends. And then also for a lot of you friends out there, this isn't the right time for you to be able to join in the live stream, and a lot of you reached out to me as well. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch the replay over here on the YouTube channel. So again, if you like what you see today, please drop a like on the video, and also drop me a comment. It helps out YouTube algorithm, show this particular live stream to other like-minded individuals and other creatives. And also too, I would really appreciate if you took the time to subscribe to my channel. I come to you 3 times a week, and right now it's been pretty religiously for the last 4.5 months. I know Maria can attest to it too, and others, just coming out. I'm very consistent, coming out with 3 new videos every single week on the live stream. I got some other stuff that I've been working on here. Work has been taking up a little bit more of my time than usual, but I'm hoping to get more video and shorts out there to you, so you're getting all sorts of content, not just the live streams. Anyways, I do come to you 3 times a week, and I sort of have it broken down into these 3 categories. On Tuesdays, I have my Storyboarding Mastering the Basics series. And the Storyboarding Mastering the Basics series is a fun little series here. You could also watch the playlist. There's quite a bit of content on the playlist for the Storyboarding Mastering the Basics. And this is where we take the time to do your how-to videos, your tutorial videos, and we've done all sorts of video content, whether it be starting from a shooting script, doing our shot lists, into our thumbnailing, into our rough boards, into animatics, teaching all different types of camera movement, camera angles, the different types of camera shots out there that you would use. We've talked about the craft of storyboarding, and I look forward to diving into deeper stuff. Maybe we'll go into animation, maybe a little bit deeper in live action, and some future content plans that I have there to give you even more value for you to learn more. And then on Thursdays, we have our Sketching After Hours series. And with the Sketching After Hours series, I think it's really, really important to hone your craft. I think it's really important to put your pencil mileage in, put your reps in like you would at a gym, because you're working on that hand-eye coordination. You're working on your spatial recognition of what you're doing using your shapes and how you draw. And I think it's really important to have a time during the week where you're just sketching, whether I know a few of you out there just did amazing work. There's a young lady I've been talking to, Sarah, through LinkedIn, and boy, she's drawing all the time, and a lot of you have been drawing quite a bit. And I really encourage you to have that regimen throughout the week to do your sketching and get your sketching in. And it doesn't really matter what you're sketching, just sketch. draw something down. Doesn't need to, you know, we see a lot of these YouTube videos where somebody's showing their sketchbook and they're absolutely just works of art. You're like, oh my God, there's not one mistake on any page. To me, I don't use my sketchbook for that way. I use it for an idea bank. I use it to drop notes into, goal setting. I use it for a lot of different ways. And it doesn't matter if it's a small little sketchbook like this where you get a chance and you're sitting at the coffee shop having a nice coffee or a matcha tea or something like that, and you're sketching, uh, looking at different folks in there. Or over here, I usually sketch in hardbound Cranston sketchbooks, and I really enjoy taking the time to sketch in these books. I always laugh at times to see how old some of these books are and stuff like that. You know, in terms of drawings that I do and stuff like that. Let's see if I have a date on any of these here. I usually date everything. Has some fun stuff. Here's some Star Wars stuff. Jabba the Hutt, Vader, Boba Fett, Gamorrean Guard type of thing. If you're into that, let's see what else I got in here. Got all sorts of stuff, yeah. And I'll do different notes and stuff in here. I was doing a lot of Star Wars stuff in this particular sketchbook. Kylo Ren and different robots and stuff. What else do I have in this one? You know, I'll be exploring different things too. Here's some spies, some different character designs in terms of sketches. Let's see what else I got here. Oh, that's an interesting one. You know, I was doing a fly fishing film, and these were some of the concept designs and sketches that I had for that particular project. So pretty cool stuff. What else do I got in this one? Let's see here. Yeah, this one had a lot of different character designs and stuff like that. Let's see what else I have. Different styles, different, a lot of cartoon stuff. Let's see. Interesting. Yeah, just different things, different sketches, and stuff like that. I was working on a lot of different animation type of stuff at the time. I don't know if I put any dates in there. Let me see. Yeah, a lot of character designs in these things. Crazy pictures here, but you know, the point is draw in that sketchbook all the time. Get as much sketching as you can done, and you know, sometimes I sit there and I look back at some of this work, and I think one of the books we were looking at last week was for last video was from 2016, and just so sketch every day. And on the third content that we have coming out every week is on Saturdays we have our storyboard jam sessions. So I'm looking forward to our jam session tonight. We're going to be talking about thumbnailing, but I've done all sorts of different film genres. We've done horror, we've done action, we've done fantasy, we've done a lot. So I invite everybody to hang out, watch those playlists here on the YouTube channel. Check them out. Either watch them all and have fun with it. I'd appreciate if you watched them all. But if not, pick out and do the a la carte version where you go and pick out the ones that give you the most value. Each video is anywhere from an hour to 2 hours long, and you know, fast forward when you need to get to the content that will make the most impact and help you with your artistic journey. But anyways, I come to you 3 times a week, and we have a lot of fun with that. So first, again, I'm going to go and let's chat with all the friends that are on the live stream right now, which I really super appreciate everybody hanging out and joining me tonight. So again, I got Maria, I got Lauren, I got Austin, I got Yazil. I'm trying to say her name right. I hope I got it right. Yazili, Yazilai. And welcome everybody, and I appreciate you really joining in tonight and hanging out. Any questions, drop them in the chat. So I'm going to pose a question, and let me go into my little question box here. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. The first question one question one is question 01. Do you use Storyboard? And the second question, 02, would be do you use thumbnails when you are storyboarding? Cool. So I threw a couple questions out there. Feel free to comment on those questions. I try to make these interactive and have some fun with, because I want to sort of get where everybody's at, so I can cater the content to the folks that are watching, and there's folks that are watching the replay as well. So drop it into the chat real quick. Are you currently storyboarding right now? Is this something new to you that you want to get into? You know, and then the second question is, do you thumbnail? You know, do you thumbnail when you're drawing? So whether you're an illustrator and you're doing a single shot illustration, do you thumbnail out those ideas? Um, you know, and I'll throw it over there to everybody. Um, so Maria, thanks for being brave. Maria says, you know, I try. She's trying to become a storyboard artist. That's great. It's awesome that you're doing that. And I know Maria's here each and every live stream, and I appreciate you joining in. And then, you know, and then Maria also says yes. And Lauren says it's new to me. And cool. So we got a lot of new folks coming into storyboarding and the craft of storyboarding. So that's fantastic to see, and I appreciate. So again, the two questions are: do you storyboard? And number two question is: do you use thumbnails when you're storyboarding? Austin says, not storyboarding right now. Curious though. Thumbnailing to plan out and choose illustration ideas. Yeah, fantastic. We use the same craft in a variety of different ways. And when I've done my illustrations or mock-ups for ads or whatever, I'm doing a ton of different, you know, back in the design days. Back in the late 80s and early 90s, I was doing a lot of design and product packaging design and advertising design and things like that. And so I did a lot of illustration. So you're always doing, you know, quick, you know, thumbnails to get it to get going. Uh, Yazalai says, I'm new to storyboards, but I want to learn so I can organize stories. Yeah, no, it's and that's what this is all about. And when you're thumbnailing, you're putting all those thoughts together. And I know I've mentioned it before in the past. I've talked to some of my pro friends out there, and you know, we were talking about that. It's all the thinking process when you're thumbnailing. Uh, Moviegoers don't get to see all that. We don't get to with that type of thought process, and those sketches never make it really into those art of books. We usually see that wow, you know, storyboard panel that's all full color or full toned out. You're like, wow, that's amazing. I want to buy that book. But you know, how many countless hours of thinking and designing and story creation go into before it even becomes a rough storyboard, and or it becomes a final storyboard. So we got the right group of people here tonight, and for those of you that are catching this on the replay, you're part of that right team too, to talk about thumbnailing and get started. So without further ado, let's get into Photoshop over here. A lot of people ask me, what do you use in Poly? And I use Photoshop. I use it for a lot of my thinking work and things like that. So over here, let me shrink this down just a tad bit, make this bigger. So I use Photoshop. I enjoy Photoshop. I used to teach Photoshop classes back at, you know, when I was teaching at the university out in California. I was an instructor, and I was teaching a lot of Photoshop classes at the time. And this is back in the day. I remember when Photoshop first came out in the late 80s, and I was already starting to play with Photoshop, I think in 1990. Was the first time I was ever introduced to Photoshop. Had the opportunity to meet John Knoll, who is now he was over at the San Francisco Cartoon Art Museum, and he had just done, I guess, the morphing of the Exxon Mobil gas tank into the Tiger, and it was used Photoshop, and you know, now he's you know, one of the heads over there over at Industrial Lights and Magic, but that was a fun time. Right up there on the cutting edge. I had a friend that had gotten his. I had worked with him on quite a bit of different animation projects, and he had his animation being shown at the Cartoon Art Museum in San Francisco at the time. So that was pretty fun and cool to sort of meet John Knoll and get into learning Photoshop and all that stuff. Now it's like old hat all these years later, in terms of what you're doing and how you use it. I use a lot of different pieces of software out there, but I tend to use Photoshop for these live streams. And then people are asking me. I get a lot of DMs. I get a lot of questions like, "What brushes do you use when you're drawing, Paul? What are you using?" Well, I keep it pretty simple, folks. When I'm drawing here on YouTube, most of the time I am just using a hard round brush, and brushes are brushes. Software is software. I mean, it doesn't make you, just because you have a fancy brush or a fancy piece of software, doesn't mean you're any better or any as a storyboard artist. I think you have to have those skills. So a lot of the times, at home, I will just sit there and I'll use two implements. And let me get the bigger shot here. I'll use two different creative implements over here to do my a lot of my thinking. And I'm going to use this one here is just a uniball pen, and I use a Sharpie, okay, to sort of highlight some darks and lights. And of all things, I'll be sitting there drawing on copy paper, and putting those thoughts together. So you don't need to have all these fancy tools. If you're just getting started out there, friends, use the simplest tools. Use what you have. And I'm not joking around when I'm sitting there taking my Instagram photos, and you see me in there, and I'm using a number 2 school pencil, to do some of my shading. And if I'm going to be shading something in or just a quick block, it's just a darn number 2 pencil. I love my little mechanical pencil I use too. But if you got the simplest of tools, you don't need all these crazy Photoshop and all these. Now, professionally, yeah, sure, I use those tools, but just because I use the tools doesn't make me a better artist. I still need to know my fundamentals. I need to know how to draw. I need to know how to do composition. I need to know about different camera lenses. I need to know about all those different things before I go and draw anything. But I need to know how to draw. And if you can draw with these simple tools, you can learn the software with ease, okay? And a lot of this, I'm dropping all my pens here. Let me pick them up here off my, whoops. Got carried away throwing all my drawing implements over here. But if you can use these simple tools, you can storyboard, and if that's all you have, get started today. Don't wait around when you can go buy a fancy Cintiq and you're sitting there going, "Well, I got my fancy Cintiq, Paul," and all this other stuff. If use what you got, get started now. Don't delay. If this is something that you want to get into and you have passion for storytelling, making movies, making cartoons, making feature animation, even if you're just, hey, I'm just an illustrator. I want to make fantastic illustrations, and or I'm a comic book artist, and I want to I want to sell my comic to Webtoons or Image Comics or whatever. I want to get into Marvel, DC, those type of things. Go for it. Don't sit on your keister. Get going. Get drawing. And a lot of these things have uh, all have similarities in terms of visual storytelling. We need to tell great stories out there. We have other things, big monsters in the corner of artificial intelligence and things like that. And we need great artists like you out there that are going to push the boundaries, not do the same old thing, not just a copycat of everything. We need to hear unique voices. We need to hear different opinions. We need to see different ways we can do cartooning or filmmaking, and there's a place for everybody, and you're never going to make it if you don't get drawing and you don't get going. So get off my little rant box here, and we'll get into our lesson here. So Maria was just saying, a couple people here, Lauren says, haha, so true. Yeah, no, get going, get trying, use your basic tools to get it done, because it's all about your work. It's all about your creating, your work and what you hone your skills into. And that's why when I'm coming out with these live streams throughout the week, I have one that's more of a tutorial or how-to based, another one that's based on, just getting those fundamental drawing skills. And we go over a lot of basic, whether it be gesture drawing, figure drawing, male, female bodies, facial gestures. I'm trying to give you the elements to help you there. And then on Saturdays, it's sort of like, let's pull this all together. How do we do a storyboard together? And most of the time on these Saturday sessions, I just wing it. I'm not using the shooting script. I'm just making it up as I go along, and we have some great fun with it too. So Maria says, I use the XP pen. They're a lot cheaper. Def reckoning if anyone is looking for a display tablet. Yeah, you don't need the fanciest display tablets. I got the huge Cintiq I work on. I got my 13-inch that I use for the live stream. Maybe in some of my videos I'll go back and forth and show you what I use. But they're useless to you if you don't know how to draw, or you don't know how to do the basics of what you're doing. So good stuff there, and good. Thanks for adding that in, Maria. Appreciate that. So, if you can get a digital tablet on the cheap, go for it. Look at some of your Facebook Marketplace, or Craigslist, or what's the other one? eBay, something like that. See if you can get something of decent quality that you can get going. One thing I haven't gotten into, I think, was using the iPad yet, and using the iPad with Procreate and these other tools and stuff like that. I'm sort of still bound by my desktop or laptop, computer. So cool stuff to look at. So let's get back into the Photoshop here. So today we're going to be focusing on simple thumbnails. Thumbnails are so critical in terms of storyboarding. It's our thinking process. It's putting that thought process together and telling the story in the simplest form. I brought some images in here to show you how simple it should be, and some, I guess, tips and tricks. It's the tips and tricks minute of Paul's episode here. So let's go into there. And if I said, what is a business card? A quarter. This is a U.S. quarter. A quarter, or a post-it sticky note, have anything to do with storyboards? I'm going to give you some, we were talking about the basic implements of pens and things like that. So again, you're sitting there going, okay, Polly, where are you going with this? So if I talk about a sticky note, let's move that over a little bit so you can see that on the screen. So if I'm talking about a sticky note, okay, or I am talking about a business card, or I am talking about a quarter, this is a U.S. quarter, for those of you in the United States. What the heck do all of these three things have in common? Well, we could use all these three elements to storyboard and thumbnail our sequence for our storyboards. So these are three different things. So anyways, you're sitting there going, Paul, where are you going with this, buddy? And what I mean by that is, if you are, let's start with the sticky note, okay? So over here, let me get my pen here. Let's talk about the first one. New layer. Okay, so number one, let's see. Sticky note. Okay, what can we do with the sticky note? You're sitting there going, Paul, why the heck are you talking about a sticky note, man? And this is why. Okay, because with the sticky note, if I'm getting my sticky note, I can get a bunch of, and if you're working in animation, you know what I'm talking about, because most of those boards are done on sticky notes. And if I get all my sticky notes and put them on the page together, I can simply, let me go to black here, so if I can pretending that I'm drawing on this sticky note here, I can get my image, draw it on the sticky note, and put it on the sticky note. So this would be shot 1, da, 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 goes into the thing, okay? And then I can take that sticky note and pop it into the frame, right? And then I can sit there, and with each of these sticky notes, I can sit there and keep doing my drawings. In my sequence. And keep it going here, whatever it might be. And if I don't like something, I can take off that sticky note and move it in the sequence, or move my sequence around with my sticky notes. And I'm using those sticky notes and I'm just moving everything, if that makes sense to you. And move that order around just by peeling those sticky notes back and forth. So that's the first thing that we could do, okay? So, then we talked about a business card. Okay, so what does a business card have to do with anything? So let's move this business card over here. Business card. So you're sitting there going, Paul, what does a business card have to do with it now? You already gave me the sticky note and gave me the sticky note thing. So let's go number 2. So what's a business card have to do with anything? And I know you guys all have access to business cards, okay? You have your access to business cards, whether you're at the bank or the doctor's office or wherever you are, grab a few, okay? And we're going to do the same exact thing, but when you have your sketchbook and you're sketching in your sketchbook, get your business card and lay your business cards. Let me get to a bigger picture here so we can see what I'm giving you. Some valuable, awesome tips today. It's the tip challenge today. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel because we're giving you some great data points here to get you going, okay? So you got your sketchbook here, and I got some sketches already drawn in here. But grab that business card and just trace that around that business card and go 2 across and then start going down and make your storyboard grid with just a business card and your sketchbook. Have that business card and just trace the outline into your sketchbook, and then boom, you have your template already there for you, and then just knock out your storyboards from there. If you do it in pencil, then just erase it. Or even better, you can grab that post-it note, put that post-it note over your drawing if your sequence changes, and do all your thinking work in your sketchbook. Okay? Throwing out some really cool knowledge to you guys. So again, these are some tips and cheats and things like that. So the same type of thing we were just talking about. So then all I would do is get my business card and my template, and I would just draw, whoop, went too far on that one. I would just draw around that business card, which is usually like a 6:9 ratio. And then you can just grab that image and then just copy it multiple times. Oop, I grabbed the business card too. And let me do this. Let's try this one more time. Let's add a layer on there because I drew on the actual card. Let's try it one more time so I can show you what I'm doing here. Oop. Boom. Boom. And say I'm tracing that in my sketchbook, the business card. Cool. And then I can grab it. Come on, work with me, computer. What happened here? Let's Still drawing on the wrong thing. There it is. And I can grab that business card and just copy and paste that bad boy. And now I have my storyboard grid like that. Okay. So does that make sense? I think it makes it's a quick little easy way to go and get your boards knocked out real quick. Okay, so just use that business card. You know, we have. I'm so sorry, I didn't turn off the big little poly again. So again, all we're doing is copying the outside perimeter of that business card and on your sketchbook, and just use that, trace the outline around it multiple times, however, whichever way. Let me see if I have any sketchbooks I've done that in. I know I did it. I was on vacation somewhere, and it's not like I was carrying a sketchbook with me everywhere. I think I drew these by hand. God, this is old, but you can sort of get the idea, you know, and you'd have it in your sketchbook from there. But use that. So those are two super helpful ideas for you friends out there. One, use the post-it notes. We usually see that in the animation business quite a bit, using post-it notes, and then you can move them all around in different formats. And then also to use the business card idea too. Okay, last one. Last epic cool idea. Let's turn that off. Let's see, where's that? No, that's the business card. There it is. Boom, a quarter. And you're sitting there going, man, Paul, you're really throwing out some knowledge today. And if you're liking it, definitely put a like and put a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Because then now you're asking me, yo, Paulie, what are you talking about a quarter? I mean, friends, a quarter, a simple quarter. You know, if you have a coin at home or something like that, just use that quarter. And I was going to do a little magic trick, but not tonight. We'll do it. Save that for another time when we're hanging out. But how can we use this quarter? And I think about the quarter all the time. And there's a story artist and character designer. I loved his work. He got a chance to work with Peter Chung back in the day when MTV had a show called Liquid Television. The artist's name is Robert Valley. He's a well-known storyboard artist and also a fantastic character designer. I know he did a lot of the Tron animated series. He did a lot of the Vin Diesel Riddick cartoons and things like that. Worked with Peter Chung on Aeon Flux. I think that's where he got his start. But what one thing, and I've been on a bunch of different live streams and got an opportunity to talk to Robert Valley, also Academy Award nominee for his Parasite and Cigarette cartoon or the animated film he made, it all in Photoshop. But anyways, this guy is a fantastic artist. But one of the things I always liked about Robert is that he worked really, really small. And he worked, when he was doing his drawings and his thumbnailing, he didn't work any bigger than a quarter. And the reason why is that he could work simple. He had to be strategic in terms of making every line count, so he didn't waste lines. So each of his storyboard thumbnails were no bigger than a quarter. And you sit there and you look at something like, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with Liquid Television and Peter Chung's Aeon Flux series. It was huge during the early 90s there, and it was this character, and it was just small little snippet shorts, and in the series, Aeon Flux usually died at the end of each one, but cool, futuristic, gun-toting femme fatale, always on missions and things like that. Super cool. But what I took away from Robert, besides loving his style, was he didn't work any bigger than a quarter. So when you're working with a quarter, go back to Photoshop here. So when you're working with a quarter, we add a little layer in there. When working a thumbnail, you have to work small. And pretty much you have to because you're being forced. And what makes that work for a new storyboard artist, and what makes that work for you, and since you have to work small, you have to simplify, and you have to be specific. And you also have to cut out the detail. Okay? And this has a lot to do with thumbnailing. The simpler you go, the quicker you go, and you're thinking. So when you're working super small, you can't be sitting there doing a drawing, and I'm sitting there and it's all this fancy work, and I'm working on the character and all this different detail, of whatever I'm drawing. It's like I'm not doing all this detail. You need to keep it. You're like, nah, I'm not going to do that. Let's do that in red. I'm not going to do that. I want to keep it simple. I need to keep it to the actual character. Maybe I get some whatever it might be. We're looking at that character in terms of what we're doing, and that's what that character is going to do. So it keeps it really simple. So those are uh, three different suggestions and tips and tricks to give you a hand. Remember, use a sticky note, and that's usually, if you're working in the animation field, you'll see that a lot, especially like a televised series or a streaming series. It's a 30-minute or 20-minute series. Gave you the business card idea, and then also, working small, like I said, the size of just a simple quarter. Okay, let's go over to the chat, see how everybody's doing, and let's see. Wow, sounds simple but functional. I like it. Cool. Whoa, I need a business card now. yeah. Next time you're at the doctor's office, you're at the bank, you're somewhere where you see a business card, grab a couple, use them in your sketchbook. Good idea, Maria. Uh, I got Yazalai. Wow, sounds simple but functional. Yeah, it really works. And then Maria says, sorry, this is off topic, but what size dimension is your canvas usually? Usually, when I'm working, man, it's all different types. When I'm just right now. Let me see here. Let me go back over here. So right now, when it comes to my Photoshop here, I am just when I'm like producing this for you folks at home. Oh, I can go back to Photoshop. I'm just working on an 8.5 by 11, 300 DPI in terms of what I'm drawing right now. What I usually sometimes see is I know my buddy Eric Yamamoto does this when I see him thumbnailing too. Is they'll work in one dimension, or they'll get started, and then uh, they'll increase the size of their Photoshop files. So instead of being 8.5 by 11, they'll go 12 by 17. They'll keep growing the canvas in Photoshop. And then what they'll do is they'll leave it the DPI high, like at 300 DPI. And when I just to give you a visual while we're talking. So what we'll do is go. Let's just say I'm working on like 8.5 by 11, right? This, and all my boards are on here. What we'll do is we'll just increase the canvas size, so then you have more boards. And then what I do sometimes, let's say I have a storyboard or a thumbnail I really like, I'll grab that thumbnail. Say I like a thumbnail and out of these three, and I'm not going to choose all of them. I'll grab this thumbnail. I'll copy that thumbnail and paste that thumbnail in my new sequence, you know. Or if I'm gonna I'm gonna go from my thumbnail. I'll copy it from here. Let's say from here to here, and then from there, I'll just go and do my rough storyboard, and then from there I'll probably do my final once I get it approved. So that's, I hope that um, you know, I hope that helps you out. So the canvas size, I'll just increase the canvas size, and then I might have a whole hundreds of drawings on that one canvas, and then I'll start selecting all the shots I like or compositions I like, and then start putting them into either, if I'm working in Photoshop, a timeline. I'll go and I'll port those, or I'll do the rough in Photoshop and then port those into Storyboard Pro. I'll work all different types of ways depending what the project is. Yazalai says, how many frames usually put on a row together? It doesn't matter as long as you can read it yourself. I would suggest when you're thumbnailing and you're doing the thinking process, whatever works for you, friend, whatever works for you. If you're showing it to clients or you're showing off your work, I would usually, and maybe it's a storyboard portfolio or something like that, I would leave your shots to maybe 6 or 9 up. You know, so there's either 6 storyboard shots or 9 storyboard shots on your 8.5 by 11 page. You know, and that's if it's on a horizontal. And that's how I usually, if I'm going to have printed work like that. Let me move get my hand thing here. Turn this off real quick. So if I have a page, let's just say, to answer your question, I have let's just say this is an 8.5 by 11 page. Um, so I'll either do it something like that, or or if I'm trying to do the 9 up. This is how I would display, like if I was doing like a portfolio type of thing. Something like that, because I would either do, like I said, a 6 up. Come on, computer, catch up. Yep. I'll do a 6 up or a 9 up. And this would be more of a portfolio based. And maybe I can put together a video for you on how to put a portfolio together once you have your storyboards created. But that's sort of how I'd recommend, because what you want to really do is you want to showcase those shots and spend it slows you down a little bit. So when I'm, if I'm reviewing portfolios or something like that, I don't want to see like 24 shots on a piece of, on a piece of paper, or or on a template. It's just like too many images, and it's not giving each image its own time for me to see your perspective, your composition, those type of things. So I want to be able to see and enjoy what your storytelling is. And a lot of folks, they like it where it is a, when we're auditing and reviewing portfolio work of artists, we want to be able to click through it so we could look at it at our own speed and not just see the whole panel. So it works a lot for portfolios to have those click through images. So you're seeing each shot. Maybe they're in HD, shots, within what you're doing there. So let me see here. So you go 1920 by 1080, at 300 DPI. If I'm going to do a single shot or something like that, so you could see that in terms of what you're doing. So we want to be able to see that whole shot. Let me go over here real quick. Let me pull something up. Let me throw this into. Let me pull something over for you real quick. So if I want to see something like that, and I want to see that beautiful image you created, in terms of what you're doing. So I want to see that cool storyboard shot. I don't want to, those type of things. I want to see this, and if I want to see all the proper frames of it too. So of what you're doing there. So that's what we're here to do. And when you're selling your portfolio, it's better if I have these complicated images. I'm going to go and I'm going to put it as one of those 6 ups in that sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In terms of what I'm doing. So I hope this helps you out, gives you some tips and tricks. So hopefully that helps you out with Maria with your question. Yazalai, how many? I hope that helps you with your portfolio. And Maria asked, do you usually work on various thumbnails zoomed out and only zoom in when adding detail? Yeah, it depends on way you work. What I usually do is work really small on my thumbnail, and then I'll increase the size of the image to add my detail. Or sometimes I work small. Big, and that's what we're going to be talking a little bit about tonight too. Is how do you get these done? How do you keep it simple? How do you create those images, because like with this image, there's a lot of detail in this particular shot. Do I really need all that? It goes really into the car, the drawing of the car. This is sort of a low res image of it, but you sort of get the idea of what you're doing. But there's a lot of detail in this one shot, in terms of what's going on. So, like I said, sometimes I start small and then blow it up and then add the detail like you were saying. But I'm not. It depends on the project too. Some projects need to be a little bit more detailed. Others I try to keep it simple too. So a few different tips and tricks of how you can go about it and stuff like that. If you good folks out there and friends out there and enjoying this lesson and this storyboard jam session, please drop a like on this particular live stream. Please leave a comment. It tells the YouTube algorithm, hey, we want to see more content like this, and it helps spread that content for like-minded artists out there and visual storytellers. Also, if you're really enjoying the live stream, please consider subscribing to the channel. I come to you 3 times a week and really appreciate you subscribing. It helps to support the channel and help me grow this channel so I could reach more artists out there as we work together. So appreciate you all joining in tonight. And any questions out there? You guys are dropping some great questions. Keep the chat going. If you're new to the chat and just dropping into the live stream, please drop your name. We got a lot of new people coming into the live stream. We got again. We have Maria. We got Lauren. We got Austin. We got Yazalai here. We got who else do we have? There's somebody else in here. I thought quite a few people here, so I appreciate you everybody joining in and hanging out. Like I said, if you're new to the channel and new to the live stream, drop your name in the channel. Appreciate it, so we can all talk and chat with each other, grow your network with each other as well, and also to we can keep in touch that way, and I sort of get to know everybody on a first name basis, not just a handle and stuff, because a lot of you have been dropping in 3 times a week, and I really appreciate it, and I appreciate sharing my story and my processes with you. Anyway, let's get into thumbnailing a little bit deeper now. Let me go back into Photoshop here. Got a lot of great content. Throw a save on there. Okay, so we gave you some cool knowledge there. We gave you some tips and tricks of how to storyboard and using some. We talked about the post-it note. We talked about the business card idea. We talked about Robert Valley with the size of the quarter of your boards and keep it small. We talked about how many shots you should have on a page. We talked about an infinite canvas and moving your canvas all around. But let's talk about thumbnails and thumbnailing. And that's what we're here to talk about tonight for a little while. And then let me drop this down a little bit. So we're talking about thumbnailing, okay? And why are thumbnails critical, okay? Or let's talk about what is a thumbnail. A thumbnail, it's just a rough. It's a rough drawing. It's a rough drawing or sketch. It needs to be fast, simple, quick. Also, at the same time, unfortunately, it needs to be disposable. Needs to be disposable. So you could sit there and you do it, and you're like, oh man, this thing is junk, and you could just throw it into the trash can, crumple it up, throw it in the trash can. you know, it needs to be fast, it needs to be simple and quick, and it needs to be disposable. The other thing too with thumbnailing, it's pretty much your thinking and planning of your sequence. And that's what you're doing. It's your thinking and your planning of the sequence. Okay. Again, thumbnailing is rough drawings or sketches. It's fast. It's simple. It's quick. It's disposable. So if we have to revise or have an iteration, you just crumple it up, delete it, whatever you need to do, move on. And it's your thinking and planning stage. This part never really gets to be shown. We see it at certain points in time. We usually, like I said, we see the fancy art of book, and you're flipping through going, oh my gosh, that's such a beautiful drawing of the Kung Fu Panda. Or this is a cool shot of Henry Cavill as Superman, and what a great shot that was, and whatever it was, or it's whatever it might be. And we don't get to see all the thinking process. And there's a lot of thinking. We're not here to be. We're here to tell a story. We're here to get the image right. So a couple other things about thumbnailing, from my perspective, is that when you're thumbnailing as well, there's no render to it. Not a lot of detail. We don't want a lot of detail in it. We don't want a lot of rendering or over rendering it. We just want that to be simple. You know, these are teeny tiny drawings, and when you draw small, you can't add all that stuff, and it keeps you from over rendering and overdoing stuff. Because if I'm drawing a storyboard shot, I got to keep, and I'm drawn small. I got to keep it really simple. There's only so many lines I can have in there, and if I have an over the shoulder shot of this character here, I need to keep it simple, you know. And this character is here. Here's his ear. He's talking to this other person over here. She's like, what's going on over here? There's not a lot of detail that I can put in there. I got to keep it simple, these shots simple, in terms of what I'm doing. I don't need a ton of detail. And even this might be too complicated. Maybe, even more simple, more simplified. It's like I'm just thinking in blocks. even more simple when I'm thinking of these shots. How is this working? Keep it simple. Uh, and when we're thumbnailing, we're going to be sharing those thumbnails with our director or client, and then get their approval on where we're going with our sequence, and then we'll move on to the rough storyboard stage. Um, a lot of times when I have a shooting script, I'll literally the script will be there. Let's just say I have a shooting script. I'll have that script there. Just say these are the lines of the script, whatever it might be. And in the corner panels, I'll be sitting there drawing those shots in there and figuring out what's going on. In terms of what I'm doing as I'm drawing, and I'll figure that stuff out at the same time. A lot of people sit there and go, Paul, I'm having a tough time. I'm still adding too much detail. How can I work? So one of the problems I see with new storyboard artists is they might be doing so much detail in their shot and the characters here, and she's having a good time, and give her some crazy hair, and they're just adding so much detail in there. We don't want all that detail. So maybe this right now, this is just the brush I'm using is a hard round brush, size 4, right? And what you might want to do to alleviate yourself from that much detail, go and lift that brush up. Work in a bigger brush. So you're doing your drawing, and it's a female character here, but if you look at it, it's just so much simpler. And you're able to fill that drawing simpler because you're using a thicker brush, and when you're using that thicker line, it keeps you from getting too much detail in there, and you get to the point quicker, and it's keeping you from all that detail. So if I'm drawing like if you're looking at that, it's helping to keep that drawing simpler for yourself, and you're getting rid of all that detail. you know it just keeps it simpler for you, and you can knock out those shots simple. Sometimes people like to work with angles and things like that, and so we were talking about our designs for our boards. Shoot this down a little bit. And when you're working thick, you can work like that, and when you're working simple, like this, you can get a lot more work done because you can add a little bit more emotion. You know, you can do some body language and stuff when you're working. Smaller and in silhouette. You know, we can do a lot of things with that, you know, in terms of your drawing style and how you're drawing. The simpler you draw your shapes, and you get like a little bit better in silhouette. And that's what we're talking about here is just working in, we're working with just line art, but even if you're just working in silhouette, it's a lot simpler when you're drawing your storyboards. Like, oh, I'm trying to pretend that this guy is a businessman, so then just go like that and give him his tie. You know what I mean? It's simple. You know, you're not adding a lot of detail. You know what I mean, in terms of what you're doing. So keep your drawing. So there's some tips and tricks when you're thumbnailing on you know, use a thicker brush. You know, I don't use a fancy brush. I use a simple brush. You know, and I sit there and I can rattle off hundreds of little drawings to, and then you're getting there. I think the hardest thing for from storyboard artists, from speed and being successful, is you're doing too much detail. You're thinking like an illustrator. You're thinking like a detailed drawing, and you got to really keep it simple. You got to, you know, use that simple basic outline of a human figure or a car or whatever it might be. A car is just a rectangle. You know, you can even go down to primitive objects, circle, square, rectangle, oval, circle, you know, circle, triangle, pyramid shape, you know, spheres, you know, keep your board simple. You're just trying to tell a story, and how is the story working together and getting edited together in your sequence. And you know, you're going to work in silhouette. You're going to work in the simple line art. You know what I mean? And you know, as we're talking about this stuff, and it's like, you know, the less detail you have, let's just say, hey, I'm working, you know, with trees. So draw your tree in terms of what you're doing. You know, keep that shape or whatever simple. And you could, like I said, you could even just work in silhouette. You know, you could either do it like that, or you can just simply just, I do this a lot too. I just grab that shape, grab my lasso tool, and bada boom, bada bing, I just fill it, you know, and keep those simple shapes, you know. I, you know, when I'm drawing, I'm not sitting there drawing a fancy car. I just sit there and literally just grab that shape, you know, have that black tone. I'm trying to simply just use those shapes, use those simple shapes in terms of what you're doing. You don't need a lot of fancy stuff. We know it's a car. Use those basic shapes, even if you're drawing a box or something, like, you know, you have your car and the car is whizzing by or whatever. Keep it simple, you know. Keep the detail out of what you're trying to do. Okay, and then what else is a storyboard or a thumbnail that we're talking about too? Um, You know, we're dialing in the elements of that shot. We want our storyboard thumbnail. We want it to be. We want a couple things that are asks for any type of. We want the. Let me drop that down. It's on 32. We want the shot to be clear. Okay. We want to consider composition. Okay. We want to, think about our camera angle. We want to think about our staging. Make it interesting. We want to. I think the biggest thing that we're trying to do with that thumbnail too. Oh, I was thinking of composition camera. One more thing in there before I go into the last part. Want to think about your shots. And what I mean by the shot selection, are we talking about, is it a wide shot? Is it a medium shot? What is it? What is the shot type? Okay. And the last thing that we want to make sure is that we're communicating. It's like the clear communication. What I'm trying to communicate story. And that's the biggest thing that we're trying to do with these thumbnails. That's why they need to be disposable. If we're not pushing story and our storytelling, there isn't much point to be doing what we're doing. We want to be able to keep that rolling. So I hope that helps you out a lot. I hope it gives you some food for thought about what thumbnails are, whether the power of thumbnails, how they can help you with your particular sequence or your whole film or animated cartoon, and those type of actions. So I'm going to write here in the chat. I hope these tips are giving you great value. Okay, so I hope these tips are giving you some great value. There's different angles that we're looking at it and trying to help. So let's pull this all together now, and I'm going to take a sip here of my drink. Any questions, drop them in the chat. I really appreciate it. It keeps it interactive. I keep taking a pause every now and then to look at my comments over here. So if you have any comments, throw them into the chat. I'd appreciate it. Lets me know that you're watching, and help give you some better direction. I hope we're having a very eventful night, and we're getting some great value for you over there that are watching here on the live stream. If you're catching this on the replay, any questions, just drop it into the YouTube channel. Drop it on this particular video. Ask those questions. I try to get back to you pretty quickly. As soon as I see those pop up, when I have 2 seconds, I try to answer all those questions at a certain point in my night. So if you have any good questions, drop it into the comment now. If not, if you're watching this on the replay, drop it into the comments of the replay. I'd really appreciate it. I love the participation. I love seeing everybody's work. If you're working on stuff too and you're working on some thumbnails, Please don't forget to share it with me over on either Instagram or here on the YouTube channel or on LinkedIn. I'd really appreciate it, and love to see your work, what you got working on, and anything I can do to give you a hand and help you out as well. So, okay, I'm going to take a sip of my drink here. Go back to Little Polly. Cool. And then go back to Photoshop, and then we're going to turn this off. Cool. Okay, so my friends, let's put it all together now and sort of go, okay, let's play around with this, excuse me, this sequence of some sort, okay? Okay, so let's draw some quick storyboard panels here. Get this party started. Okay, like this. Let's. Hmm. That's probably where it's going. There it is. Do 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 do. So you can see how simple we're just going to keep this. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so get all of our boards here. Let me throw a quick little save on there. Okay, so yes, lie. How can we make sure we are in communicating the story properly in a visual way? Um, I would suggest, since you're new to the channel too, my friend, I would highly suggest you go back and you look at some of the previous videos and live streams and sort of pick out the ones that would help you, or go through and watch them all. I think they're all pretty decent content for you. There's a lot of learning in each one, and there's a lot of demonstration and tutorial within those videos. And there's one specifically that we talk about storytelling, and we talk about the three-act structure, as well as I think we went and explored Dan Harmon's story circle, his creative circle with storytelling. Dan Harmon is the writer. I think it was a Community, the show Community. I think it was Community, and then also he's part of the creators for the Rick and Morty adult cartoon. But the three-act structure is how basic, film screenplays are written, in terms of you know what it is. And I would say, if you can tell this is a challenge. And this is what I've given for help before to other people. One is when you are doing an image, the best way to start off if you're not used to storytelling is to draw a story with a single image, one image. Okay, we think of like comics or comic strips that way. So one image, and tell me what's going on in that image. In terms of, is it a bank robbery? What's going on? What's the story? You know, uh, is there's one image and it's inside the bank, and the bank teller is nervous. There's a customer standing in front of her. He has, looks like, a gun at his side. you know um, there's a couple other bad guys, in the with the ski masks inside. You can see a window through the bank, window with the getaway car guy, the driver there. You're telling a lot of story with a single image. And if you're new to storyboarding and visual storytelling, I usually recommend draw single image stories. And then when you get to a little bit better at your storytelling, that your image is communicating some sort of story. Uh, Maybe it's a birthday party scene, and at an office or something like that. And you have all the different characters when you're looking at the story itself, and you can see who likes the main character, whose birthday it is, and maybe there's other bunch of people that are like, why are we celebrating Carol or whatever? What I mean? It's like you can have some sort of funny, sort of story, within that single shot, and then you move into more of your comic strip with, introduction. What is the conflict and what is the resolution? In terms of your story, So in 3 shots, can you tell a story? One, two, three. You know, First one is, you know, little boy sees the ice cream truck. The conflict is he has no money to buy the ice cream, right? Wants the ice cream, can't buy it. And the third shot would be maybe he found a coin in the ground, or mom gave him money and he's going to go and buy the ice cream. Is a resolution. In terms of that storytelling, can you tell that basic 1, 2, 3 shot story? And then you go from there into how as storyboard artists are working. We're doing hundreds and hundreds of shots to tell a sequence, whether it be you're sitting there watching the new Deadpool Wolverine movie, or when that comes out and you're doing that, or you're storyboarding Rebel Moon, or you're working on one of the Game of Thrones, or Walking Dead, or whatever it is. There's a lot of boards that come into play. But if you can do this basic, like I said, a single shot, single panel, or single shot story, and tell a lot of story within that shot, you're on your way. And then you move up into, beginning, conflict, resolution, in terms of your storytelling that way on a think of it something like, I don't know if you're familiar with Calvin and Hobbes, by Bill Watterson. That simple comic strip, or Charles Schultz from Peanuts, or whatever. You're 1, 2, 3, and you tell that story. If you can do that, and then you can get more complicated in terms of your storytelling, because there's so much to storytelling, and we're talking about it with the thumbnails with shots. Uh, what is an extreme wide shot? Why do we use that shot? Why do we use a close up? Why do we use a medium shot? Why do we do a full shot? What is the point of a full shot? So those are all different. How about a Dutch angle? The angles changing. You need to know your film language. Is super important to storyboard artists, and you got to have those basic tools, and it'll make that storytelling even easier for you. So. Those are all different ways that we're communicating story. We're going to practice a little bit of that in just a second here, because I'm starting to run out of time. but I wanted to get in Storyboard a little bit. I got Useless Guy on board. Hey, Long, how's it going? Good to see you, my friend. I'm happy you were able to stop by. Don't forget to watch the replay, Long, so you can sort of see what we've been talking about today about thumbnailing. Okay. Any other questions? Drop in. Some great questions, friends. Great, great questions. And I know, don't be shy. And I know it's always tough to ask questions, but don't be shy. Please drop them over into the chat, and we'll answer them as quickly as we can. So again, give a like to this video, drop a comment into the live chat or onto the video itself, and don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Okay, let's get back into Photoshop real quick, and let me turn this off. Ba-da-ba-ba-da. Okay, so yeah, no worries. So Long was saying he fell asleep. Okay, well, I'm glad you're awake and rocking it. So, and Yazlai, sounds good. I'll start practice on the one picture story. Yeah, give it a shot. Let me real quick before we go into this. This will help somebody out there. Is boom. Here's my contact information. So if you're working on something and you just want a little 2-cent feedback, we're more than happy to give you a hand. My name is Paul Angeli. I'm a live action storyboard artist. My business email. So if you're in need of a storyboard artist or just want to get in touch, my email address is mr.paul.angeli@gmail.com. And that's my main email account for business inquiries. And then also you can reach me on my website. It's www.paulangeli.com. That's www.paulangeli.com. And then, of course, just look up my Instagram handle. Look up Paul Angeli, and you'll find me quickly on Instagram. If you have an image you want to share with me and get some feedback, Yazalai, I'd love to see what you come up with your single pictures. So feel free there. I have quite a few people sending me their artwork, so just give it a couple cents and a little bit of feedback when I get an opportunity. And then you can reach me, of course, here on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. And then as well as there's my business LinkedIn page there at the very bottom, friends. So I hope that helps you out. And let's get in. Let's get some boarding done. We had created this little shot list here. I'm gonna go and play around with this real quick and see what we come up with. And we're gonna sort of having a shot here. Let me see how I'm gonna do this real quick. Okay, cool. Let's do it like this. Okay. I'm going to go back and forth a little bit, so we're going to zoom in here. I'm going to tune this back just a bit. Now we're going to practice everything we're talking about, okay? Let's see how our line weight looks in there, okay? Okay. See how that looks. Cool. Okay. Let's just go. We're playing around with that sort of bank robbery type of thing. So let's play with this. Okay. So I'm gonna leave it right here, and I'm gonna have a couple here. Okay. And they're gonna keep it simple. Okay. He's gonna be a little bit taller. So we got him there. And then she's going to be in there. We're going to have a male and a female. So she's going to be a little bit shorter. where they're holding hands. They're walking in to signify that she's a female because we're going to give her some hair. Scale, we can scale this down or up, and to be walking in here and keep it simple. Maybe it has some sort of bag or something like that. This is all we're doing, keeping it simple. Oops, what happened here? We're keeping it simple here. Okay, got some foliage here or something like that. Okay, they're walking in the bank. Pop, 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 pop. If we want them to stand out a little bit, then we can just block them in with just some black. They're walking in together into the bank. Pretty simple in terms of what we're doing. Okay, so we got them walking into the bank. I'm just thinking out loud right now as I'm making up this story. Okay, so we got them walking into the bank, and then let's see, what are we going to have them do next? Maybe they're walking into the bank, and the woman is a little closer, so we'll keep her right here. Got some earrings on her. Keep this thing simple. Shrink her down a little bit. Maybe she's waving hello. And character is ready to go in the bank. It's the city, so we got some sort of boxes there. It's keeping it pretty simple. And as we're going along with this, I think is super important too is put your panel numbers. So panel 1, shot 2. So we're establishing they're walking in the bank, and then like with this shot, maybe he's walking into the bank. You can keep it really simple. I just some tones. Okay, maybe she's waving at somebody when they walk in the bank. In shot 2. And then in shot 3, thing in there. Maybe in shot 3, maybe we see who she's looking at, or maybe it's the security guard. Get him in there. And we're going to see it's the security guard here. He's going to have a gun on him. He's getting the door for her, type of thing. He's right here. He's getting the door for her. Okay, we're right there. We're just thinking out loud right now. That's shot 3. And then maybe shot 4. We're going to get a close-up of this police officer. Maybe he's right here. So we're going to keep it simple. We'll just keep it simple here. He's talking to her as she's walking in. We haven't changed the size of our brush. We're just keeping it simple. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And maybe she is... maybe she's talking back to him. She's just happy. Shrink that down just a tad. You can see how quickly we're not taking a lot of detail, but we're trying to tell a story. Let's see how far we're getting. As they're walking in, this is number, oops, color. That's 5. Let's see how we're doing. Now we can sort of see our boards coming together here. So we got the 2 bank robbers walking the bank. She's waving at somebody. The other guy she's with that has the suitcase is ready to go in the door. There's a security guard right there in front of the bank, waves at her, talks to her. She talks back to him. And then what we could do is we can, have them either walking into the bank or something like that. Or maybe we can do something where it's a cut scene, so we're or let's show the 2 in the bank. We can do something like that. And then what we can do is show where everybody is that shot. Let me think here. And we still have the one policeman, the officer here. And as the couple. Got that duffel bag on him. They walk into the bank. They're sort of thinking out loud. this, or maybe what we're seeing is them walk into the bank. Okay, and these boards are pretty simple. Okay, so five, 6. Okay, and maybe one thing that we're going to do with this particular police or the security guy here, we're just going to give him you know, he was sort of happy talking to her. As they're walking into the bank, okay? And then we can do something like this where in the next shot, right now we've done six shots here. We're telling some stories. So Yazalai was asking, how do you tell a story? We're sort of telling the story. We have our first shot, which is a wide angle shot. You know, we're showing the bank. We're showing the two characters. He's got a bag of some sort around his waist, his shoulders. They're both walking into the bank. She's waving at somebody. He's ready to go into the bank. There's a bank security guard waving back at them. He talks to her. She says hi to him. And then, boom, they're walking into the bank. Super simple. I'm not doing a lot of detail. I'm just throwing down some lines and getting some basic storytelling done in terms of what we're doing. And then we're going to get in here. And in this next shot, I'm sort of thinking we want to introduce them sitting at the bank. Maybe there might be a window here, a window sill that we're looking at, a frame within a frame. It says bank type of thing, and we see them. We're going to see her sit down. Maybe he's standing up still. Desk here. Over here, we got the guy with the tie. Maybe he's the bank manager or something like that. See outside of the bank. in terms of the window of the bank or whatever, and our characters are sitting down here. I can do that yet. Okay, we have the bank here, and they're sitting down at the bank. So that 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we're that shot there, or we could have added a couple extra shots, you know, or maybe they're sitting down in the bank, and or inside the bank. We're looking outside the window, exterior shot of looking into the bank in terms of what we're doing. And we could also have fun. We can swap that shot and move that shot around a little bit too. So maybe what we can do, we can reverse that shot. Or do something. Let's get inside the bank. I'm just sort of thinking how I can do this real quick. We could do one of two things. We could have them sticking up the bank and you see it through the window, or we could quickly show our two characters. Maybe he sat down, so he's our male character is right here, female character is right here. And get them inside the bank. So let's separate them a little bit. And then maybe we got the introduction to our bank manager, and he's going to be sitting right there in the middle of the desk. We're going to put him a little bit higher because we're going to show that he has some sort of authority. So we're going to get him over here. I'm going to raise him up just a tad bit. So he's right here. We know he's the bank manager. He's got the tie on. He's like, what brings you in today type of thing. Got some pictures or something, potted plant or something behind him. And then what we can do is we can knock out those other two characters in the foreground. So we now have that. We have the male character here. And then we got the female character here. We got the earrings. So we got the two characters sitting there at the bank. And then this is number 8. This is how we're telling our story, and you know, and if there's a shot that isn't working, I can delete the shot, I can get rid of it, I can do something else with it in terms of what we're doing, okay? And okay, and then we want to get a close-up or something of the bank manager talking. So let's get a close-up of him. So we want this guy to be some sort of authority looking guy. Let's see here. He's going to be talking to them. And he's like, oh, you want some money here? Or how can I help you? Keep it simple. Maybe he's got some file cabinets or something behind him. That plant that's there. He's talking to them so we can sort of get an idea of how the story is going. Maybe we might get the two-up shot of our characters looking at our bank manager. Maybe we'll do the reverse that other shot. And maybe we'll change the position. So he's over there. How about we get one more shot at him? Let's see, like he's gonna really be. Let's go like this, okay? Talking to them. I think we need to have our closer shot. The reverse of our two people, reverse shot of them. And keep it simple. She's sitting there talking. The first time we see him. Oops. Let's get his hand on her. Ha 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 ha. You know, type of thing. Her hair on her. She had the earrings. Just keeping it simple in terms of what we're doing. Got the rest of the bank in the back. Okay, this is number 10. and then we're going to get a closer shot of the bank manager because he's having a good time. And maybe let's see here. Sort of have it that the bank manager looks scared. Okay, and that's 9, 10, 11. And if we have a shot that isn't working, we can change it out. Okay, he looks scared. And then what would be sort of fun is we can do the big reveal here. And let's see here. Okay, and then what we can do is grab this shot right here. And then what we'll do is we'll bring this shot over here. We'll say this is number 12. And then what we can do is, instead of this shot here, let's change this to black. What we can do is, instead of them seeing it right here, bank manager's there. He's standing up. He's going to have a gun on him. Let's move this bank sign somewhere. there, and she's going to be here. And they're together there. That would be sort of funny. As we have this shot here. Put that right there, so it's the same shot again. Cool. Get this out. 13. I think it was sort of funny would be either like that or this might be fun too. Now this she could say it from the outside the window, and what we do with this bank manager. He would have his hands up. This is a bank robbery. That's sort of funny. Okay. And then we'll do a final shot. Let's get it of our woman here. She can say something. Don't do that. He's right here. She's more like stick him up. She's more like stick him up, sugar. And we got the poor bank manager next. And we gotta have his glorious shot here of the bank manager. He's nervous. something like that. I think that's pretty good right there. So this gives you an idea of how a storyboard artist goes ahead and does the thumbnails for the storyboard. We have more shots to do for this particular sequence, but it gives you an idea of what to do as you're thumbnailing. It's not very detailed. It's pretty simple in terms of the sketches as you're doing. And right now we put together about 15 frames. And if you think about it, we'll probably finish this up with about probably about 30 or 40 shots to put this sequence together. And we could always add different things. Maybe there's a buzzer under the desk and she's all don't mess with that, or whatever she might be doing, and then they escape the bank and maybe drop some money on that security guard or something, and didn't want to hurt anybody, just wanted to rob the bank. So anyways, it gives you an idea of the storytelling. We're telling the story. Right now we're 15 shots in. I hope this gives you a good idea of how to thumbnail and how to take on thumbnailing. So again, tonight we sort of on a recap. We went over about thumbnailing. We talked about some tips and tricks of using that business card, or using a post-it note, or using those elements to knock out your templates, whether it be on a piece of paper or your sketchbooks. So next time you're, like I said, at the doctor's office or the bank itself or wherever you might be, grab a couple business cards, use those, and you can lay those out in your sketchbook and trace around them to get your template. Or use, like a lot of animation folks, they use sticky notes and then do all their shots on the sticky notes and then interchange those sticky notes. We talked about drawing small, size of a quarter. We talked about Robert Valley's work, and that he worked really small, so keep it small. We talked about what a thumbnail is, and it is just pretty much a simple drawing. It's to kick off your thinking process. So a lot of this work that you see on this page right now is nothing I'm going to really show. It's just giving me the idea of where I can go with this particular sequence, and where I can hone in and tell some more story, and maybe there's elements that I want to show within this particular sequence. I can roll those out. So we were talking about a thumbnail needs to be simple, it needs to be clear, it needs to be concise, not a lot of detail, not a lot of tone. Don't get lost in all the muck. Get the story told, and it needs to be disposable too. So if I don't like a shot, I can get rid of one of these shots and put something else in its place, or change the chronological order of the actual panels. We did have some great questions from the group tonight. So we talked about having an infinite canvas, and I can either create even more shots in here and open up my canvas even bigger to a bigger size, and then the process of copying over these thumbnails into my rough stage and then redrawing over them into my rough storyboards. We talked about the process of getting the thumbnails approved through your director or client, and then going off to your rough thumbnails from there. We want our composition to be clear, our shot for our cinematography language to be clear. We want interesting staging. We want to know what the camera angle or camera movement is. These are all pretty much locked off shots for what we were doing right here. So lots of fun. So again, I hope everybody had a good time. Don't forget to drop a like and a comment on this particular video. Tell us the YouTube algorithm, hey, we want to see more of Polly's work. We want to be able to communicate with other visual storytellers or like-minded people about this particular channel. Again, if you enjoyed yourself, please, subscribe to the channel. If you're here watching this live, I really appreciate everybody taking the busy time out of their busy Saturday, now Sunday morning with me. I had Maria join me. I had Long join me, who goes by Useless Guy. I had Yazalai, who was first time here. Thanks so much for all the contributions in the comments. I had Lauren here, and had Austin here. Don't know who was able to hang out the whole time, but I appreciate all you friends joining in on the live stream. If you didn't catch part of the live stream, watch the replay on there, and if you watch the replay if you missed any part of it, or if you didn't get to watch the whole live session tonight, catch it on the replay. I will see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your fantastic weekend. I will catch you in the next live stream on Tuesday, if not sooner. You guys take care. Have a great weekend. I'll leave you my contact information if you'd like to get in touch. Again, have a fantastic night. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you on the next live stream. Good night, everybody. Have a great night.